Hi guys, welcome at the virtual Hair and Beauty Show 2021. My name is Marta Zaczkowska, and for the next 15 minutes, I will be talking to you about 7 worst waxing habits. Thank you for joining this webinar, and straight away, I would like to reward you for that and offer you my free ebook called 7 Worst Waxing Habits. You are the first one who can download it because this ebook was specifically prepared for this show. Look for the link below and you can easily grab a copy of my ebook. Now, the 7 worst waxing habit webinar, it's not here to just point out your mistakes and make you feel bad. If anything, my mission is to make you aware of the habits that exist and give you a solution how in an easy way you can get rid of them. If you would like to get in touch with me, my emails are also there, marta@waxingspecialist.co.uk. I'm always happy to help you out or discuss anything to do with this webinar. Now I'm going to share my presentation with you and show you 7 waxing habits. Okay, going to the presentation. I will make myself a bit smaller so you can see the entire screen. Okay, 7 worst waxing habits by Marta Zaczkowska. Before I give you the habits, I would like to tell you a bit about myself. Okay, so I have over 15 years experience in intimate hair removal in Poland and in UK, which includes like waxing, IPL and laser. And I'm the owner of the Waxing Specialist Salon based in London and also director and educator at Waxing Specialist Academy. I also run a consultancy business called Marta Zaczkowska Consultancy, and I specialize in intimate and pregnancy waxing, and I'm the creator of the first pregnancy intimate wax course in the UK that was also accredited. I'm the founder of the New Waxing Audit. Maybe I can tell you about this in the future. And I'm a speaker and regular contributor for trades and press articles. Are you ready? Let's start. Habit number 1, flicking and picking wax before removal. And I give you the slogan, don't be a picker. Okay, so when we have clients for waxing, our aim should be to give them as minimum pain as possible. Do not add an extra pain by flicking and picking the wax with hair underneath and pulling the hair and making more pain. Clients will really not like that. What is the solution? What can you do to get rid of that habit? Well, first of all, have enough free-zone area on the side that you will use to remove the hair. So best way is to apply the wax firmly, leaving like a slight thicker edge and creating a little handle, and you use 2 of your fingers to lift the wax up. But you absolutely are not doing this with a spatula. I've seen people doing this on a YouTube video, picking with the spatulas, or they really like flicking. You know, flicking, picking doesn't look good, doesn't sound good, and doesn't feel good for your client. So if you have that habit, try to work a bit more firmly and a bit more stable. I sometimes even tell my students, try to work elegant. Now, when the wax is settled, press the edge, grab it with 2 fingers, and remove it, as I mentioned before. And that will be the solution. Try to really not be pulling any patches where, before you grab it, you are snapping the hair. It's really not nice feeling. Okay, number 2, habit of removing wax in the wrong direction. And the slogan is, don't second guess. Okay, guys, don't second guess the rule. The rule is there, right? The general rule for removing the wax is the opposite direction to the hair growth. Okay, so when we start waxing, we usually identify first the hair directions. So spend about 20 seconds In going through the section that you're waxing, check for the difficult parts, check if you need to perhaps trim a bit to make the directions more visible for yourself, make your work much easier, and that's in the preparation. And you know, once you identify all the direction, you shouldn't have any problems with removing the wax. And you know, if you second guess and you just, you know, go in with your gut feeling, you might not be able to remove the wax. It might get stuck, and you also might break the hair, and you won't be able to remove the wax at all. Guys, labia area, intimate waxing, how often it gets stuck in there because you perhaps didn't identify that within the inner part of labia, the hair were growing a different direction or two directions, and you just kind of treated this as one. So you need to be like a Sherlock Holmes and really check the plan first. Have a good plan, map of how you're going to remove the wax. So follow the general rule that we removed the wax the opposite direction of the hair growth. Let's move to habit number 3. Habit number 3, leaving hairs behind. I don't want to offend anyone with this slogan. You should have gone to Specsavers, but do you remember this advertising? What I really mean by this, it's, oh my God, you need to be so specific and so, like, you know, very detailed. So first of all, assess the area and decide whether the hair are actually a right length. So often clients trying to push you for additional wax between the really times that you should be going because they have holidays or they have dates, and they come into you and the hair is too short. And what should you do? My advice is, if the hair is too short, you can't provide a good level of service, and therefore you should always reschedule. Why? Because they are going to think that you are not good at your job, you were not able to remove all the hair. The only one time that you can go for it is you're really honest with your clients and tell them, like, look, it won't be a good result. I won't be able to remove all the hair. You might mess it up a bit, your hair growth cycle. And I must have used tweezers, and you know, but would you really want it to do treatments like this? Not really. So in my salon, I always move them a week or 2 weeks if I need it. What can you also do to not to miss hair is repeat the section until the skin becomes visibly red. So I'm talking about hot wax with strip wax. You need to be careful. Second time you repeat, you know, we do know that you might remove a bit of skin and, you know, a part of the dead cells. So be really careful. And if you see that the skin is getting now red, best thing to do is to remove any remains hair with tweezers. Don't be afraid to do so. It's better to use tweezers than leave the hairs behind and clients have to do the picking, plucking at home. Because as far as they are concerned, they come into you to do this job. So always ask the client, could you please check if I left any hair behind? And that's the habit that is really good to have, and communicate with your clients that way, because clients really appreciate your attention to detail. 1 and 2, sometimes when they look, it's a different angle, different lighting, and you might actually miss it being able to remove the hair. Now, we are now wearing a mask and shields, visors, and oh, trust me, it's even worse to be able to see. So I think now more than ever, it's great to have that habit and ask your clients for help. They really appreciate that. And never ever leave any hair behind. There's no excuses for doing Hollywood, for example, and client having hairs left and have to like plucking them at home. They will not come back to you again. Let's move to another worse habit. Habit of taking too long. So do you know the saying, time is money? Well, we all do, right? But let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, taking too long. It's something that will be affecting your business. If you have your own salon, if you work for somebody, also it affects like how well the business works. And how can you work on this? So what I say to my students is try to first time yourself and check how long your wax takes. So every single treatment you do, time it, more or less you probably know, but on an average, what is that time? And then try to work towards your goal. And what would that be? And for this purpose, for this webinar, I'm just going to focus on intimate waxing. So you should be able to perform an intimate wax in about 15-20 minutes max. Okay, this is including the bum area. And I'm talking about doing a hot wax of somebody who has a bit of a growth, right? So we're not talking about easy wax. Easy wax will take 10 minutes. Now, you try to work faster, but also the preparing the client to the treatment. So like, you know, clients taking off the clothes, preparing the skin, choosing the right position for the clients. And as I highly suggest that you are with the clients in the room when they are undressing. It really saves the time. If you leave the clients, they might be like taking longer. And I always found it that yes, in the past, people used to do that to give privacy. But if you're a waxer, you know, clients know what they're coming for. And I don't think there's a need also for a paper pants. So if you can skip them and have the area really exposed, because that gives you a very comfortable, like opportunities to work. A word came out of my head now. Environment, I would say. Comfortable environment to work. You don't have to worry about something being on your way or you're not being able to you know, work fast. Always ask the clients to stretch the skin for you, because that also helps to speed it up the treatment. The skin is stretched, you can apply the wax quicker and also remove quicker. But what I always say to my students as well is that it's important that you apply the wax smartly with a good amount of patches. So you need to have some kind of strategy how you're going to work. And always wait until the wax is completely dry. Because if you start to touch the wax and it's getting stuck to your glove, and then you have to, it gets a bit messy. And then if it's not fully dry and you remove, it might not pick it up the hair. That means you have to reapply, and that means more wax wasted and more time. So always wait until the wax is dry and apply the right thickness. So not too thin and not too thick, because you don't want to wait too long for the wax to dry out. In this habit, I say, is the more you practice and the more you focus, and focus is very important here, and work smart, then faster you become. Okay, let's move to habit number 5. Habit number 5, not monitoring the wax temperature. Don't risk burns. Very serious and very important. Now, guys, you always have to double check the temperature throughout the treatment. In the beginning, in the middle, and especially when you're finishing, where the skin it's already a bit red, irritated, and that's the one that you have to be specifically careful. Now, there's a few things that can happen during your treatment. So you could accidentally knock down your thermostat in your wax pad, and the wax may go very quickly very hot. How can you tell that the wax is too hot? You know, there's two things that I've learned over 15 years. That first of all, if the wax drips too quickly and it's too runny and it smells intense, the temperature is probably too high. So yeah, if you've got that sense of the wax a bit smells more than usual, it's 100% that the wax got too hot, right? And also, if you're trying to take a wax on the spatula and travels on the client and it drops you somewhere, that's another indication double check the temperature. Now you always have to test the wax obviously on yourself, but I always do on the client as well, because even if I check the temperature on my wrist, when I'm putting on the client, they might be more sensitive. So what you do, you test on the inside of the thigh, or just outside of the bikini line, so in a quite safe area, and you apply that a bit slower than usual. So you apply it with the kind of like, you know, slower motion when you're waiting for the reaction of the client. And if they say it's totally fine, then you can go ahead. One more tip in this section: never blow on the wax, ladies and gentlemen. Never blow on the wax to cool, for hygiene reason, because the wax will then be contaminated. And this is a very important, specifically now where we are in the middle of pandemic. Let's move on to a next habit. So, habit of not stretching the skin while removing the wax. And my advice is, well, slogan, don't risk bruising. Let's talk about this a bit more. So, why do we need to stretch the skin? Do we need to stretch the skin? Who should stretch the skin? Well, I believe that clients and waxers should always stretch the skin, and that eliminates any chance of skin bruising. It's also less painful, and you will be able to pull the hair more easily. Now, clients' hands should be on the skin. And I personally never allow the clients to have their phone or magazine in the hands, because I need their full attention. I also think it's a bit rude if they are on the phone and I'm trying to sort out their intimate area. So politely just explain your client that you need their full attention and you actually need help. So they have extra pair of hands, which will be amazing for you to help with the stretching. And it keeps them focused as well, I found. So I would say form a habit of communicating with your client and asking them to help stretch the skin when you're performing any really wax, if it's a strip waxing and intimate waxing in particular. We have different shapes, sizes, you know, sizes of ladies or men that come into the salon. It's impossible to work without stretching the skin, and really the worst thing you want is somebody to get bruised, and if they do, they will never come back to you. Okay, so you will potentially lose this client, and that's why I think this is one of the worst waxing habits, bad waxing habits. Okay. Let's move on to habit number 7. This habit is a bit different to the previous ones, because previously I've talked to you more about technical stuff to do with waxing. Now that one is connected with them as well. So habit number 7, having unprofessional conversation with clients. I beg you, stop talking about yourself. And I'm going to explain you now why. Okay. Talking about yourself and not giving enough attention to your clients is the most common mistake and a really bad habit that people who work in the salons make. And I am going to talk to you a bit about a rule that I invented some time ago, which is called 70-30% rule for all your first-time clients. 70% of the time, you should talk professional. I'm just going to look at here my notes and give you the exact things I want you to talk about. So you talk about different waxes, products, retail that you use, styles that you offer, so intimate wax styles, for example. Talked about reaction to wax, how they feel about the wax, educate the clients about ingrown hairs, inform them when to come back for regular waxing, and inform them about an aftercare advice. So basically, I want you to talk most of the time everything about the treatment. Now, the remaining 30%, I want you to put the attention on your client. So you want to ask them things like what industry you are at, rather than what do you do or where do you work. Ask them about their holidays plans. That's okay, you can ask them. You can then ask about the aim. What do they want to achieve by coming to you for waxing? What's their preferences? What do they have any worries? What are the concerns? And within that time, you then give them also the answers. Now, you know, these informations are very crucial in building relationship with your clients. Clients really appreciate the fact that you are giving them knowledge, you're educating them, and you sound like a true professional. Clients like this really appreciate the genuine interest that you are giving in them by knowing something about them as well. And also, when they come back to you the next time, the rule follows, because now I want you to find out about how was the skin after the first wax they had with you. How did they feel? How the skin felt? How did the hair grow back? Were they satisfied with the treatments? And so on. So, you know, talking about yourself and not giving that attention to the client, it's a really no-no, and in the longer term, you are turning a salon into like a living room conversations with your friends that you would have. And remember, clients are very friendly, but they know, in the end of the day, they are not your friends. They are there to have professional service in a nice, friendly atmosphere. So yes, you can show your personality through and be like very friendly, but you need to restrain yourself from talking about your personal stuff. I mean, like your holidays, your relationship problems. And I think the worst you can do is just talk about your problems constantly. At some point, this client's going to not to come back, because people have enough of their own problems. So be professional and follow the 70-30% rule. Okay, guys, and I think we went to the end, but I would like to summarize now and give you the solutions in the one go. So my advice to you guys, if you have any of these you know, habits, like seriously, you can really work on them. You can, you know, practice, and that will definitely make them disappear. First of all, follow the rule of removing the wax opposite direction of the hair growth. Secondly, always ask the client to check if you haven't left any hair behind, and if the hair is too short, just reschedule. Work smart with good speed, so don't rush, but works in a good pace. Do regular wax temperature checks. Nothing worse than burning somebody. You might end up in having a claim against you. You don't want that. Always stretch the skin when waxing. This will make your work so much easier and faster and safer. And always have professional conversation with your clients. You will come across as a true professional and somebody who has a lot of knowledge. So you can really show yourself from the best side. Okay. Now I've got a little saying here for you, a little quote. Stay in love with the process. Even if something doesn't work right now, or you have problems with, or you were not aware of it, you can get rid of it. And by practicing, you just become a better therapist. Remember, if you become a better waxer, you have more happy clients. More happy clients means, you know, you have a better opportunities in life. You have more time for yourself and your family. You can go for nicer holidays, and you're creating a very successful waxing business. Thank you so much for staying till the end, and I would like to treat you with a little bonus. As I mentioned at the beginning, first of all, you can join my private Facebook group called Support Group for Waxing Professionals. And I also, as I mentioned at the beginning, I've prepared an ebook, 7 Worst Waxing Habits, which you can download it, I believe, below. Now, thank you so much. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day and another webinars. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, I'm here to help. Have a fantastic afternoon. And yeah, I hope to see you around.